This is our guest today. His name's Kobe Workman. Is that what you use for music as well? Just Kobe Workman?
I use figure usually.
Figure. I knew that.
Like figure of speech. Or
right.
It's usually like my music name, but
and that's
everybody
F1,
around here.
Right? Or is that just...
It's for Facebook, yeah, because I couldn't
just throw
I
it
couldn't
up on the
use.
screen.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you have anything on Spotify or any of that? Or
I have one single on Spotify under figure, all caps.
Gotcha.
Figure.
Right.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, we'll put that up there too. But I wanted to start with the most important question first. And it's kind of a weird way to start it because usually you don't start with the most important, but how long have you been growing your hair out?
Oh, well, I wasn't allowed to have long hair growing up, so whenever I turned 18, I started growing it out. But, I mean, it stopped growing probably a few years ago.
Right.
Like,
because it's just been long for the
yeah.
longest time.
If I trim off 2 inches, it'll grow like 2 more inches and stop. I don't know.
Right.
I don't
it's
know
just
why.
got a limit.
Yeah, I was wanting to see how long it would grow, and this is as far as it grows, I guess.
Right. I've never tried to see how long mine goes, to be honest. It looks good though.
Thanks,
And
man.
it fits the vibe, you know?
You've let it go.
No, not as long as I can though.
Oh, I guess you're right.
It's been real long.
Been
But
long.
mine gets like messy when it gets long. I hate how I look with long hair. But there is that awkward point that you
Yeah, the
have to
awkward
get
phase
over.
where you
Oh,
can't
yeah.
really put it up, but it's in
Right.
your way. Yeah.
And I always just cut it at that point. I've never got over that phase.
Yeah, I forget I even have long hair. I remember when it first got long, I would be like, I'm gonna do it with long hair. You don't see that as often. Now it's just
Right.
like, oh yeah, fucking
Yep.
same thing with like all the other like tattoos and the nose ring and stuff like that.
Right.
Sometimes I'm just thinking like, oh yeah, forgot about that.
Yeah. Mhm.
That's
How long
I
have you
am,
been
too.
playing the guitar?
I mean, my older brother and my dad played, and there was always like guitars around, so I've always kind of like messed with them. And then like throughout junior high and high school, I would like pick it up and learn like a Metallica song or something, and then not play
Right.
it for a few months.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would say like when I moved out and like started like discovering life for myself when I was like 18, that's when I started like, I think I want to try and take this seriously and see if I can make a living or at least some extra dollars on the
Right.
weekends doing it.
For
Yeah.
sure.
So I've taken it progressively seriously for 25 now, so 7 years.
Right.
But like even as a kid, I played guitar and stuff.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Just never really took it seriously till last 7 years, you said?
Yeah, well, like growing up, like I didn't know that like bar bands were a thing. I thought there was like people who played in their room, and then there's people that are on like #1 hit Billboard. I didn't know there was a whole
Right.
spectrum
Right.
of musicians getting paid in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn that as well.
It's crazy you say that. In the Juice WRLD documentary, he says the same thing. He said, I didn't know normal people could go to the studio. He said,
Yeah.
I thought that was reserved for superstars. I
Yeah.
didn't even think you
Yep.
could go record music. And he said, once I found out you could just go pay money to record at the studio, he said it was over at that point. And that's an extreme case. You know, he had like a year where he just blew up. But
Yeah,
Right,
I
that's
like
very extreme.
Juice WRLD's was like what's the one album, Good Riddance or
Good
something?
Good Riddance.
That's the only album I've
Goodbye
ever
and Good
heard.
Riddance.
Yeah, that's
That's the only
the
album I
first
heard. I
one.
really
Right?
liked it. Yeah, I was like
Speaking of
18 is
Juice.
when I first. Nice, represent.
Yep.
18 is when I first started playing out, like open mics. I probably shouldn't say where, but real close by,
Right.
there was an open mic, and the owner at the time, he'd be like, I know you're underage, just come in and play, and as soon as you're done playing, go out the back door. I don't want to see you at the bar, but I'll let you play.
Right.
So that's where I like kind
That's dope.
Yeah.
of first started playing live.
Mm-hmm.
Which for like, one thing I was going to ask you, like since we're obviously both in music, but different genres, so like when you play live, do you look forward to that, or do you just like the studio aspect?
I'm actually really like, I have bad stage fright. And I think it stems from the first time I ever performed was at a church, but it was like a old people church, you know, and it wasn't me, you know. I didn't know what I was doing, and I got really nervous, and I couldn't find the key. And then ever since then, I've had bad stage fright, but I usually get over it at this point, just because I know I have to, you know.
Yeah, I was wondering that if it's like if the genre base is different, because I feel like hip hop and rap is more or less a studio kind of a thing, and then
Right.
you can play it live.
Yeah.
Whereas like me, like with rock and roll, it's like I know some people like me. I don't like being. I hate record. I don't hate it. I don't really like recording. I just
Right.
want to play live. That's
See,
my goal
that-
in life is to play live.
And I do
So
feel opposite than that.
Yeah.
Like, I feel so comfortable recording,
Yeah.
but once I get on stage, I'm like, I
Oh,
don't know
yeah.
about this.
I feel like, yeah, you definitely have instances where you are nervous at the start, and then once you get going, it's over
Right.
with.
And I think, like you said, with the genre, it's hard because the beats aren't live instruments most of the time. It's 808s, and you can't really play an 808 live unless you're just playing it on the piano, which you can. But I think that's the cool part about it is incorporating drums and then taking the drums off the recording. So I would take the vocals and the drums off the recording, and for the performance, I would just have the other stuff playing, and then have a drummer come in,
Yeah.
because we know a drummer from Carbondale, Anthony Stecker, and I think he's gonna play drums for us at a concert in January 11th, and I'm really looking forward to that, because it's like, with the hip-hop, I'm just kind of standing up there and singing over my lyrics, unless you do that, unless you mix the two together.
Yeah, I like it a lot more when I see, like, live musicians and stuff up there. And I feel like especially with hip hop, like just bass and drum, rapping to bass and drums is like the fundamentals of hip hop, like where it all
Right.
started.
Yep.
So it is really cool to have like a live drummer up there.
It adds so much to the like whole aesthetic.
Yeah.
Mm.
Because the first time I mean, I've seen big people do it, but that Rios concert that he had,
That
where
was
he
a
had a
great
drummer and a guitarist, and it blew me away, really. I was like, I really enjoyed this because of that live feel. The drums are loud as fuck, the guitar sounds nice, and his vocals sit in nice. But when you try to just do it over the song you recorded, it even comes off a little ingenuine, because they're there to see you perform music, not to just hear your song that they could go hear in their car and hear you do it over it, you know?
I got you. Have you guys seen my Redbone cover, Childish Gambino?
Oh, yeah.
I play it live too. So that's actually like I like Kendrick Lamar, and I really like that song. And I was like, well, I just don't know if I really want to put hip hop in my set.
Right.
And then I was like watching like a video or documentary or something about him, and it was showing like how many musicians he has up on stage with him. I was like, oh, this is like a band thing. He's not
Right.
okay. I respect that. I'm gonna
Yeah.
play.
And
yeah.
that's,
I wanna learn
like you
these
said, you
parts.
respect it as a musician, and I think that might be the biggest part
Mm.
of why I like doing it, because people that know music respect it. It's like
Yeah.
they're putting effort to not just rap over a beat, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And also, like, I mean, I'm a pretty, like, I like to improv a lot. So, like, one thing I do respect about, like, playing to a track is that you have to be right on. You can't just skip over a verse, or you can't, come into a verse 2 bars too late or whatever, right?
Right.
Like, you have to be right on.
Oh, yeah.
I like to, like, improv, which is a difficulty all within itself, but there's also that freedom of, like, when...
You can take control.
You can take control, and, like, if I come in too late or too early, or... if I play a few wrong notes, it's like there was no right notes here. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I mean,
That's
you gotta
how
fall
it's
on the
supposed to
key.
come out.
Yeah.
Then in that instance, you
Yeah.
know, right? Because I mean, you do have to be on, but it scares me trying to improvise. I can't do that live and be confident enough to know I'm gonna be, I'll get so off where it doesn't even sound. Because I'm sure when you improvise, it doesn't sound like a mistake to the common ear. People wouldn't be like, oh, he messed up right there. They just think.
I feel like there's tricks that I've kind of adapted to, like, so, like, and as you know, music often repeats. Like, if it's like a little melody, it repeats. Like, I have like 4 measures or 2 measures or 6. So a lot of times, if I make a mistake, I'll just do the same mistake 3 more times.
Exactly.
I meant to do that.
Right.
And
Or
that's difficult. That is difficult.
Or with a guitar, you can, if you play the wrong note, you can bend the string to the next fret. So if you play the wrong note, you just bend it real quick, and it'll come up to the into key.
Right.
So there's like
Damn,
there's little
that's
tricks
crazy.
around it.
That's
Do you think
crazy.
that was something you taught yourself to learn, or did that come naturally? A little bit of both?
I would say a little bit of both. I feel like I've learned a lot more obviously I've spent more hours just in my jam room and as a childhood in my bedroom. I've spent a lot more hours playing guitar there, but I feel like I've learned so much more while on stage,
Right.
and that's
because you're getting that real life experience.
real life experience, and I think it's like the pressure too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Like-
it is definitely.
Right.
The
'Cause-
pressure
Right.
pressure
You're
makes
up there.
diamonds or whatever the cheesy.
At Trev's
Cliche
last
is.
performance, I was just running the computer and I felt the pressure, like, and we fucked up a little bit,
Right.
but we powered through and it was good.
Right.
We had a good
That's all you
set.
can do, and we learn from it. That's what
Exactly.
you're saying. We learn.
And
We
know
learn so
what
much
not-
from that.
what is not gonna happen next time.
Right. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And you're up there by yourself, right?
Most of the time, yeah.
So that's like
Whenever
a
we
whole
did
new
that
beast.
last, right. When we did that last one, Brandon, XO Mello performed with me a little bit. I don't know if you've heard his music, but he's someone we've been working with. And I think it comforts me a lot to have someone up there, really.
Yeah, it's so I'm kind of like coming at it again because like I've always performed with bands. I've been playing with this band like Hillsborough area. We play almost every single weekend. It's like covers of old country and old rock mostly, but I just kind of improv the solos. And I've gotten like really comfortable to where like I don't get like usually it's always been for me like I'm nervous before I go up, and as soon as I start like my guitar has always been like my comfort.
Right.
So as soon as I start playing, like I'm good. I forget there's even people watching.
Right.
I'll be like 6 songs in, I'll look up. I was like, oh yeah, there's people here. Shit.
And that's probably why you love music
That's
so
amazing.
much. You
Yeah.
get
It is so-
lost
That
in
is so
it.
cool.
It's such an escape. But like, I've been like really trying to push this to get this figure project going, and I'm using it as like to book shows and like fundraisers and stuff for this
Right.
Mhm.
Peru trip.
Speaking of fundraisers, where'd you say you're going?
I'll be at the office December 16th. It's a Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
9 o'clock to 1. It'll be me playing my looper set, and then I have a couple special guests.
Hell yeah.
But
Mhm.
I haven't played that out too much yet, and it's like I'm coming back around because I've gotten so comfortable with the band. But like when you walk up there by yourself,
With
that's
all
a whole-
those instruments.
yeah, it's a whole different beast. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
god, I feel like I'm 17 again. I'm sitting up here like trying to push my pedals, my foot's shaking a little bit.
Right.
Like,
Oh yeah.
but it's
And
good
you
for
do-
you to be uncomfortable.
You play more than guitar, right? You do drums. Do you do anything else?
Yeah, so I have this pedal board. It's a looper, so it's essentially like recording. And you can do like really long, but like say whatever song you're playing, say if it starts with a guitar, you hit record. It's all live. You hit record as soon as you start playing, and you play however many measures, and you stop it, and it loops over and over and over and over and over until you stop
Right.
it. And then you add drums and keys and vocals, saxophone, whatever. So I play with everything I just listed: drums, bass. I have a MIDI controller, and then just hooked up to GarageBand, so I have all those sounds.
Right.
People hate on GarageBand, but the MIDI sounds are the best.
Well, oh yeah.
They're all there.
I use Logic, which is the same thing.
Yeah,
Right.
I like GarageBand because I mean, there's hundreds or thousands of instruments just right there. You don't have to like
Mhm.
Right.
download whatever they're called. The,
Yeah.
The plugins.
the plugins, yeah, they're all just there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, saxophone. I have instead of an acoustic kit, I just have an electric kit, so I don't have to like mic all the drums. It's just one input, one output
Gotcha.
into and then. So it's kind of the middle ground between a band and a solo thing. Like it's just me, but I make kind of a full band,
One-man
sound.
band.
one
Right.
man band.
There's only
yeah.
one word for it.
One-man band. Yeah.
See, I'd need the looper because I can play a little bit of guitar, but I can't continuously keep the same rhythm and sing at the same time.
It's
I get
very
lost in
difficult.
that. And I've always wanted the loop machine just to simply play 4 chords and then stop playing guitar and sing,
Mhm.
you know, to show people I did play that for the beat, but I also looped it. You know, I
Mhm.
played it one time and then looped it throughout the whole song.
Singing is very difficult while playing. I mean, there's some songs that I can do. The other songs, like, I mean, like if I practice enough, I could. But
Right.
Mm-hmm.
it's the same with drums. Like if the vocals are right on with the beat, and like especially if it's more like staccato, I can play it. But
Right.
if the melody is different, it's slightly different than the chords or whatever that I'm playing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It gets complex.
it gets complex.
Right. And you said it's at the office December 16th.
Yes.
What time did you say?
9?
9.
Make sure.
And then that's for the fundraiser. Where are you going for your...
For your trip.
Is it
Yeah,
a
16.
rainforest?
Yeah, so I'm flying to Peru, to Cusco, the city in Peru, and then it's a 10-hour bus ride to a small town called Porto Maldonado, and it's a 1 hour boat ride into the jungle. And I'm gonna live in a bungalow for just over 4 weeks, like doing forest conservation. It's a volunteer trip.
Gotcha.
That's awesome.
Doing like forest conservation, and like shedding trails and like planting trees. And I think the most like important thing is really just the money that I'm spending to do it, because it pays people, like, because like the economy down there throughout most or all of South America is pretty bad.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm doing some of the work, but really I think the program fees is like funding like actual
Families.
like families and actual, like, what do you call them, not explorers, but like
Guides. Or
guides,
something.
yeah,
Right.
guides and stuff
Mhm.
like that, like
Yeah.
feeding families and stuff like
Right.
that, like you mentioned.
That's awesome. That's
And-
really
Yeah,
cool.
that is very cool.
So it's for a good cause, because I mean the Amazon jungle is like suffering because of like miners, like gold miners, and deforestation,
Right.
and like, you know, people wanted like exotic woods,
Yep.
and like
Right.
tribes have suffered because of like explorers, like all the way back to like the reason they speak Spanish down there is because the Spanish conquistadors,
Right.
and just like what English people did to the Native Americans here, Spanish people for the most
Mhm.
part did to the natives down there.
Gotcha.
Makes sense.
And then in the early 1900s, during the Industrial Revolution, during like the rubber boom, like when Henry Ford came out with the cars, and like and they needed rubber and for the
Right.
tires, for the gaskets, and also for like shoes and all sorts of stuff.
Yep.
Mhm.
There's a tree that you can get like silicone from and throughout the rainforest.
Right.
So they sent people down there, and they pretty much like enslaved a lot of the natives,
Yeah.
and made them go
Wow.
get it, and they were like punished if they didn't like meet the quota.
Right.
Which, like, if anybody, I'm sure a lot of people are interested in like uncontacted tribes.
Uh-huh.
There's like a new word for them now. It's supposed to be less offensive, but
Yeah. I wouldn't know.
I don't. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know.
trying to
You're-
think- it's
you're
like
learning
it's like
us right now.
it's like deliberately. So I forget what it is. Like, you know how like names change for people,
Oh,
that way
yeah.
they're less offensive over
Right.
time.
And then
But,
it
like,
just ends up
yeah,
in a
just-
circle.
Yeah, full
For
circle.
no reason.
But uncontacted tribes, what you hear about how they're like brutal, and like if they see people, they just kill them and stuff.
Right.
And like for the longest time, people had thought that they were never civilized, but like now, the newest like hypothesis, I don't know if it's necessarily proven, is that when like Spanish conquistadors came, and like the people from the rubber boom like tried to enslave them, they were like, the hell with this, and they just went deep into the jungle.
Right.
And then you can only think of like what the folklore is, like, you know, white people show up, their light skinned people show up, and they were like burning them alive as punishment and stuff.
Right.
Mhm.
Just because
So,
they're
like-
trying to make some money.
Right.
Yeah. So like you can imagine, like, and then of course stories get exaggerated.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Not that they even probably needed to be.
Right.
So like,
Shoot, they might be watered down. To be honest.
yeah, maybe
They might be.
maybe.
That is true.
But you know, if they talk about how they're like savages and stuff, and it's just because they're like, if you come into contact with them, they kill you.
Oh,
Because-
you mean
because
the
they're-
white people's story about?
No. The uncontacted tribes, you know, they were like enslaved and tortured and slaughtered and all that. So they went deep into the jungle, and then there's people, especially like missionaries, like trying to bring them Jesus and stuff, that over time, throughout history, it went to try and like civilize them or whatever.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Right.
Like make peace.
Make peace and like bring them Jesus, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people's even like try to offer them food, and usually they just kill you like on sight.
Gotcha.
I've seen videos like that. Like
Yeah.
dudes like walking up into the jungle and then
It's like a whole
Just-
tribe.
just surrounded,
Yeah.
Right.
running right into the water with knives and arrows,
Arrows, yeah.
machetes, and
Right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, they don't know. They don't have cell
They're-
phones. They're just
Yeah.
protecting their
They're
land.
They're protecting themselves, and you
Right.
think of like the story that's been passed down, like,
Exactly.
yeah, you know, your great grandparents were slaughtered because
Mhm.
people with light skin showed up, and
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
so like
How do you think we would? I mean, we would do the same.
we would do the
exact
same thing, yeah.
right.
Mhm.
Oh,
If,
that's
if
awesome.
aliens came to us, like
Yeah.
it's essentially the same thing.
and we didn't know any better than they just murdered our people for for their own good, then
Yeah.
I'd be like, nah,
I'm
I'm fighting
out.
back.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm bringing
Exactly.
my guns, which is probably bows and arrows, to the
Yeah.
aliens. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Which they're like
Exactly.
deep into the jungle,
Right.
like way beyond where I'll be.
Yeah.
But I like bringing that up because I feel like it's an interesting
Oh yeah.
It's important.
topic.
Mhm.
it's
Important, yeah.
Mhm.
What first made you interested in helping that cause?
So, like I'm sure you guys know, I like to travel. Although I've never traveled out of the United States, I've been all throughout the West and
Right.
seen. You know, I love to travel. And I thought, well, one day I would like to travel. This is like a year or two ago. I thought, oh, I'd like to travel out of the United States. Where would I go? I don't know. For some reason, I landed on Machu Picchu, which is like an ancient civilization, like remains on top of a mountain in Peru, like near where I'll be. And I started like learning Spanish, and kind of put in the back of my mind. I didn't like plan the trip or whatever.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, read a book on it on like the Amazon, and listened to a podcast, and it just inspired me. I was like, you know what? I don't want to be just another gringo that goes down there and does all the touristy stuff. I want to be in it. I want to like actually do some good. Mm-hmm. So then I kind of half-ass serious, not really, just like I just like looked around at some like volunteer programs, like I'll sign up for this. They're probably not going to email me back anyways.
Right. Immediately.
Then, no, it was like 5 weeks later they emailed me back. I'd forgotten about it. I was like, that ain't happening.
Yeah.
And I'm like, actually, like after gym, I get it, ba-ding. I'm like, huh.
Right. I guess I'm going to the rainforest.
I was like, I better sleep on that one.
Right. Oh yeah, that's a big thing to go do.
Yeah. So,
how long is it?
How long am I gonna be down there?
Right.
I'll be down in Peru for, I think, just over 5 weeks. I'll be in the jungle for, I think 26 of those days, and then I have like a few days that I'm just gonna like hang out in the Cusco and like go to the markets and do touristy stuff.
Right.
And then I fly home.
That's awesome. Hell yeah.
That is very cool.
Yeah.
That's very unique too. You don't see that.
Right.
I've never heard of that. Maybe like mission trips, but not going and volunteering your blood, sweat, and tears.
Right. Personally, because the mission trips are all set up for like groups. That's all I've ever heard of is people with churches going. Is it just you like?
I'll be traveling there by myself, but there'll be people down there.
Right, of course. Yeah. But like you were the one who personally you emailed them and you said, all right, I want to go do this.
Yeah, I emailed them. Like I've had to buy a bunch of like stuff like waterproof book bags and like jungle boots and stuff like that. Like I've been preparing for it. I've been preparing a lot for these gigs. I mean, I leave in like 4 weeks. Like it's coming up.
Right.
I've been planning
fast.
it. I've been planning it for I don't know, a few months.
Right. How else can people support you other than coming to your gigs and buying merch? Is that kind of what you're doing for the fundraiser, the gigs and merch?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing for the fundraiser. Or would it be even better if you just like supported? There's all sorts of like foundations and stuff. If you are interested in the Amazon and helping, like you don't have to be crazy and go down there and machete trails. You can just donate some money or whatever.
Yeah.
Or
maybe you could send us a link that we could put in the description, and just if people feel obligated, or not obligated, but if they feel like they want to help as well. Yeah, if they want to help the cause, then we'll put that link in our description.
And if anybody's interested in volunteering, the company is IVHQ, International Volunteer Headquarters, and they do stuff all over the world for all different stuff. A lot of it's like with you can go like help elephants in India, or there's like you can go work with children in Africa or South America. There's all sorts of stuff, but they do all over the world if you want to volunteer.
You said it was IVHQ.
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 I can double check.
Gotcha. Volunteer headquarters. Right?
International Volunteer Headquarters. Yeah.
Gotcha.
International Volunteer.
Headquarters.
Yeah.
So what's the plan when you get back?
I'm probably gonna be depressed.
I mean, I don't know. You might feel really good, and like I want to go do it again somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean,
who
maybe.
knows?
Also, like I said, I'm leaving in January, and I'll be there all January and part of February. So it's gonna be cold here, but since they're on the southern hemisphere, it's summer there.
Right.
So it's gonna be freezing, and it's gonna be like high 80s when I get there.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna come back.
I'm sure your mind is gonna be feeling all sorts of weird, and it's gonna be a big change. I feel like, but I feel like it'll be a good one. That's super cool.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I personally want to go down there is for personal growth, and I'm gonna bring some books and to read and some do some journaling and just and also I think
are you gonna document like video?
Well, I can't do too much videoing because there's no electricity down there. So like I'll have my phone and I bought a couple battery packs, so I'm gonna do what I can.
Right.
But like
that's crazy. No electricity in the world that I live in. Just thinking about that, that is insane.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
everything I do is electricity.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to like the no social media,
right?
Especially.
And I don't even think it's a good thing that that's how I live. I think it's got its positives and negatives, just like anything else. But I would love to be forced to go do something, and it's not like you're volunteering, but to be forced to stay off, right? Yeah.
I mean, I'm not real big on like social media and like its effects on mental health and like, but electricity is pretty awesome,
right?
Like,
it's crazy.
But I mean, I don't know. It does help us be lazy sometimes, which isn't always good.
Because when it comes down to it, we're just another being of this world, so. It confuses a lot, I feel like social media does. It confuses a lot of people. Even me, I'm addicted to my phone and I hate it. It's the first thing I look at when I wake up. It's the last thing I look at before I go to sleep, and I hate it.
And have you made an effort to not?
But it's like, once I start doing
that's
a no. I've thought about it, but then I'll convince myself that it's not for my best interest. The stuff that I want to do nowadays, music, content creation, everything is on my phone.
That's exactly why I asked, because I'm in the same dilemma. I do music, and then I screen printed these myself. I run like a small screen printing business.
Right.
So I'm trying to promote that. And
those are great quality, too.
Yeah. They're super soft.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to rock that for sure.
I'm wearing it tomorrow. I'm not playing.
Right on. Yeah, I'm in the same dilemma. And then for a while, I would like make a video or something that I wanted to post to promote my music, and I would post it on Facebook, and then I would just delete Facebook. But then I'm like, no, I feel selfish because I want people to look at my shit, but I don't want to look at their shit.
Right. Well, I'm the same way. But I think that's a good way to be about it, because you can become a consumer with that, and that's when it's negative, is whenever you're mindlessly scrolling for hours, which I do that too, because I'll be editing a video and then get lost in TikTok for hours, and then I'm not productive, nothing came out of it, I'm literally just watching other people's lives for hours. Right.
Yeah, it's been a struggle for a while, but like I will say it's cool that you recognize it and that we all recognize it. Some people don't even recognize it as a problem. So I agree. That's good.
Yeah. But I don't know, I feel like I've had some trouble even when I recognize the problems of overcoming. I don't know what it is.
It's instant dopamine. Just
right. It's so easy. It's too easy.
It's too easy,
Right.
Yeah, I'm excited for I'm excited to be like off grid and electricity. Although I'm not hating on electricity. I think it's great.
Right.
Like,
Just to experience
I always tell people
I
love camping. I love all that stuff. But also, I love the hell out of my electric guitar.
Right.
So.
And I love my heated house, my heated apartment, and my lights up there. I love all that, but it definitely can get overwhelming. All that.
It's give and take. It's all about balance, I guess.
Yeah. What are your social media handles, just so they could give you a follow?
I can text them to you, but
yeah, we'll pop them up.
As you can probably tell from this conversation, I'm not super good with social media.
It's hard. I mean, we've been doing it for 2 years, and I don't think we're good at it. I mean, we're learning every day, and we post a whole lot,
Yeah, so my Facebook is Figure, or like my personal account is Kobe Workman, of course. My Instagram is Figure Valentine, which is like my alias name, or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
Alter ego.
I like that.
That sounds cool.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And then that's it. Well, I created a YouTube, but I never even I posted some videos and never even shared it with I have 0 followers. Never even shared anything.
That's a good start, though.
Yeah.
I mean, just having it. Yeah. Because I mean, it is so weird. Especially, I saw someone's TikTok today, and they were talking about how artists in the old times would never promote their music like we do nowadays.
I've been thinking about that a lot. Right. I feel like artists, if you're a guitarist, I feel like, all my heroes, all they had to do was play guitar.
Right.
Like,
and most of them are weird as fuck.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? I feel like I'm super weird because that's how we express ourselves is through the music.
Yeah, that's
We're
just the trait of
musicians
artists.
are weird, but and then you have to try to convert that to a figure that people like watching on and it's like, what?
Right.
Yeah.
Kind of losing all of it at that point.
Like you said earlier, it becomes ingenuine.
Right. Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, you're like trying to make like infomercials is almost what it feels like sometimes.
Yeah, that's how I
But
feel.
then you
I
feel
feel
bad that you're not doing everything you could be to be chasing your dreams by utilizing that. You know what I mean? So that's the dilemma. It's
And like I said, like all my heroes, like Jimi Hendrix and all them, like what his job was to play guitar. Like he had managers, he had bus drivers, he had, you know, as far as most of them, I don't know if he did specifically, he had like stylists, he had promoters, he had everything. Like whereas musicians now, or artists in general now, like we have to play the music. Like I mean, you, like I don't know, do you produce your own stuff? Like
yeah, I do
like
sometimes.
we're playing the music, we're producing the stuff, we're often making doing all the instruments. We're our own manager. We're booking. We're calling venues.
Putting
we're
your own money behind it.
we're designing our own merch. Like we're advertising. We're doing everything.
Every part.
Which
Every
like
single part.
But I think that
I love
also
it, but
that might come from how accessible it is to make and release music nowadays.
yeah,
Because back then, Jimi Hendrix, I mean, nowadays, like, people like Drake have all that. You know what I mean? They have the stylists and all this, but it's so easy to try to follow that passion as it wasn't back in the day, because I have this set up right here. You can probably make music. I mean, you can make music on your phone nowadays, you know? And you can upload it for $15 to all platforms. So it's a lot less of a barrier to get in the game.
that's true.
So the more common person can experience what it's like to not have the full team. Because, I mean, right now, it was myself for a little bit, me and Cam, and even with two people, we have so much. It's like you said, there's 10 different jobs that are behind every big artist.
Every day I wake up, it's just constant. What needs done right now?
Right. Yeah.
I will give kudos to you guys. That's one thing I respect about you guys. Like I see you guys are always grinding, putting in work, and making videos, making music.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like they're getting better too.
Yeah, more like professional. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I think that comes from a point where me and Cam have had countless conversations that there's just nothing that can do to make us quit or give up. So even if our last video got 3 views and 1 like from my mom, you know,
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter to us at this point.
The video's dropping on Friday at 3 p.m. every week.
And I think consistency is key in that game. And it's so hard because there's so many outside sources and there's feelings involved. There's emotions. There's I don't feel like I'm good enough because that last one barely got any love, you know.
Artists tend to be emotional. So.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I feel like that's definitely rubbed off on me.
Yeah, probably so.
And then there's also the dilemma for musicians and probably all artists is like following what could potentially pay your bills or following your heart and playing. Like, would you rather make music that you think is awesome but everybody's like, what is this?
Right.
Or would you rather make music that you think other people would like?
Right.
Like I feel like
and then it's like you're not even making music because that's not from your heart at that point.
Take the genuine route.
Right. It's almost like you're just trying to have a business with whatever's selling at that point.
Yeah, and it's not the most fulfilling, I don't think, in the on your deathbed.
Right.
Like I made music everybody else liked, or I made music I liked.
Exactly. That's a really good way to put it. Think about it whenever you're about to leave this earth, you know? What are you actually going to be proud of? That you have a little bit more money or that you loved what you were doing every single day of your life? And I think if you love what you were doing, you're going to have more genuine people, like just for instance at your funeral, you know, it's
and the money's
or at your
come,
shows,
right?
Like,
and if you have all that money, it could be 0 people at your funeral.
Yeah.
But what were you about to say?
The money's gonna come whenever you follow what you love.
Right.
Like,
I believe
if you work
that.
hard enough, it's gonna come.
Mm-hmm.
And
I do think there's a balance with it. You got to find, because I mean, I got a daughter. I got to support for her. I want to do what I love every day, but when it comes down to it, I need money too, you know, to live, to take care of my responsibilities, all that. So there is a balance, but it is hard.
It's probably
It's
also
so hard.
it's probably also like a driver to get your ass up in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
Like better go get to
Every
work,
day.
work on some music and stuff like that.
Got
yeah.
to. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you got anything else to add? Anything? You got that concert at the office December 16th.
December 16th.
9 p.m.
9 p.m. to 1.
We'll be there.
We'll definitely be there.
Right on.
We'll be wearing our shirts.
Long drive for you.
I know it.
I
I can't even drive.
would like to incorporate some, like, a rap verse or something of my music.
Yeah, I'd
sometime or
definitely be
another.
down. We definitely need to link up and make some music.
Oh,
Right on.
That would be great.
I'm trying to figure out which direction I want to go with figure music, because like I still have like a sweet spot for the old school rock and roll, but I kind of like feeling inclined to go like a little bit more electric and a little more like a psychedelic route, I guess.
Right.
Especially with my MIDI, like I can.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
also like I'm a huge, inspired by like Pink Floyd and
Right.
a lot of the old psychedelic
Yeah.
rock and roll. And,
I mean,
That's
I feel
sick.
like that's what figure could be. I feel like everybody, it's hard to even put it in a genre, because I wouldn't even say I'm rap. I would say I'm like, because I sing more than I rap,
yeah.
But it's definitely hip hop, and hip hop's associated with. But then once you get that deep into it, it's like I'm just making my music that I like.
That's
you know?
good too.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I think it's good to not fit into
Right.
a box. Like if the weekend makes a hit, then for the next 6 months you hear songs that sound like they're trying to sound like the weekend
Yep.
or whatever. Like I don't think that's
I don't like it.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Like
All
a
right.
Christmas tree.
Thank you.
Yeah, we just decorated the other day.
I got
Trev
my-
hung up all these lights. Took him like, how long did that take you? Well, we almost
It
had
took
a
us-
tragedy happen because one little nail started falling and it was just
And
a
then it was
chain
Just,
reaction.
yeah.
And I'm like, oh, fuck.
I'm 25 years old and I just got my first Christmas tree. It's like this big.
Right. Hey, it's better
Like,
than nothing.
Yeah.
My house, so when I moved out of my folks' house when I was 18, I had a little bitty house in near Newton, and now I have a house in Mattoon. It's the two houses I've had,
Gotcha.
and they were like the most unconventional houses ever.
Yeah.
Like, in fact, my first house was this tiny. Like it was the whole house was about this big, maybe.
Yeah.
Like it was
Right.
tiny. I had it had a counter over here, like a little bitty bathroom, like a little a bedroom big enough for like one bed, and that was it. Like I couldn't even have a dresser in there.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And my living room was just a jam room. I didn't have a couch, didn't have a TV. I remember I used to sit there on my drum kit, and I would put my plate on my snare drum, and I would eat off my snare drum. Yeah. I got one room. What's the most important room? Music.
Right. And that's, bro, every time I've ever moved, that is a thing. I've got to have a place to put my music
Yeah.
stuff. There's got to be, and I took the biggest room in my apartment, the only one really with any space, and I said, that's going to be all
That's
for
it.
music. That's what it's for.
Yeah, that's it. And it's
Yeah.
kind of the same thing with my house now. I mean, it's bigger, but I got my living room is just there's where I put my coats and shoes, and there's a piano,
Right.
actual upright piano. Then my jam room is upstairs, so I have everything. Another two of my other rooms are what I screen print in. I don't
Right.
have a regular living room to
Yeah.
watch TV and stuff in.
Right. That's, I don't even really I always have to feel some sort of productive.
Yeah.
I'll sit here and watch YouTube and stuff, but I don't know. I honestly don't even like it when I do. Once I'm finished watching it, I'm like, I could have been doing something.
What a waste of time.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I feel like me and Trev have that conversation every time we go out. We
Facts.
bicker back and forth, and then half the time we'll end up going out, half the time we'll be like, no, we gotta work.
Yeah. And it's cool that you guys have we don't have a time limit or anything, do we?
No,
Mm-mm.
no.
Okay, it's cool that you guys have your a camaraderie type of thing, because you gotta have both elements of not being alone, but also not wasting your life away at bars and
Mhm.
Right.
not to be an asshole, but
Yeah. I mean, bro, that's
constantly you guys are grinding, but you're also not alone. Because I feel I'm sure there is that element in your life, but I feel like if you really want to succeed, I don't know, but I think that if you want to succeed, you have to kind of accept the fact that there's gonna be a period of loneliness and
oh, yeah.
I'm here to work,
Yeah.
let's do this.
100%.
Yeah.
Sorry,
You got
I'm
to.
not hanging out tonight.
Been going through it.
Right. I mean, we probably wouldn't have even started working because I did it pretty much alone for the first 4 years probably.
Mhm.
I started in high school, and then I was already doing it. How it started was me and Cameron were just chilling, and we're watching YouTube videos, and we were like, we
Let's
should make a
pod-
reaction video
yeah.
to a song, and that's how it started.
Really?
And all of a sudden this will be the 7th week in a row that we're posting a podcast, and
But it's probably our 100th video.
right, that's what. And the whole last 2 years, we've just been really nonstop working ever since that first time that we were like, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah,
And we
and this-
edited the whole thing in one night. too.
Right.
Posted it the next day. Posted it on Snapchat. And I still think that video has one of the most views of all of our
I think it
videos.
does. Yeah.
What was the reaction to?
I think it was an unreleased
Juice.
Juice and Young Thug song that
But
actually came out
it
like
is
2
released
months
now.
ago.
Yep.
Oh.
So we did that 2 years ago, and it was just an unreleased song, and then it came out like 2 months ago, and we went back and changed the title to Reacted Before It Was Dropped, you know? we were
Nice.
trying to be like, we were on top of the wave.
Yeah. Nice.
But it was crazy. That very first video did like 400 views.
I think it's at like 800.
Is it?
Yeah.
Who knows?
I think that is our... it might be
Numbers
our
don't
most
matter
viewed one.
at this point. They're going to come. But yeah, I think everything that you got going on is amazing.
Sorry, I was feeling for something.
And the fact that you're actually going to go help Mother Earth, that means a lot to people.
Yeah.
Especially
No, that's like the ultimate thing I feel like you could do is just helping others, helping people in need, you know, and I think it's super cool. Very cool.
it's
Hopefully
inspiring.
I'll get a whole album worth of inspiration out
Right.
of it.
You're going to have to sample some of those jungle sounds.
Yeah.
I'm going to need you to send me some like monkeys. I don't know if there's monkeys.
Yeah, there's monkeys.
Is there?
There's monkeys.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
That shit would go crazy for an intro.
Hell yeah. There's something I was gonna say, but I forget now. Oh, you mentioned being like artists being weird and stuff. So I want to tell you a story. I guess if so you want to call it. It was like just like a couple weeks ago with this band I play in. We play in like a lot of like smaller town, like country or type bars, especially being here in the Midwest.
Right.
And like I quit drinking like I don't know, like a couple years. Like I don't have a drink every once in a while, but like I quit drinking a year or two ago or whatever.
Right. That's awesome.
So I play almost every single Saturday, sometimes Friday and Saturday. So I'm at a bar every single Saturday.
Yeah.
And like for the longest time I had a bad habit of like vaping and smoking cigarettes and stuff. So I'd sit out there and smoke cigarettes with the band or whatever. So I quit that too because like I wanted to just see what life is like completely sober. Besides caffeine, I'm a caffeine addict for
Right.
sure. So I want to try like a sober life. So like well, what do I do on my breaks? Because we play 45 minutes, take like a 10 15 minute break, and then repeat that 4 times.
Please tell me you meditate.
So I was like, I'm gonna bring a book. So I'm sitting like in this country, bar in the middle of nowhere, and I'm like, everybody's like drinking, my band's outside, like smoking and whatever,
He's over
and
there.
I'm just sitting here, just fucking read the book.
That is great. That is awesome.
And people are coming up to me like, "What are you doing?" I'm like,
Weren't you just shredding the fucking guitar on stage? What the hell?
like, "What are you doing? Read the book."
Getting his
What's
mind
it
right.
look like? No, that's awesome.
Which is actually a book I would like to suggest to you or anybody that's following like a path of like entrepreneurism or art. It's called The War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. It's a really easy book to read, and it's been like the most inspiring
Really?
book I think I've ever read, and like the aspect of like inspiring me to get to work on music.
Right.
Usually this is even just as nerdy, I don't know. A lot of times I read on the treadmill when I'm at the gym, and I like to work out before I play because it kind of gets my blood flowing or whatever. There's been so many times when I'm reading this book and I'm like, screw this workout, I'm going home. Like I'm writing music right now.
Just so inspired that you
Yeah.
just had to go.
Yeah, and it's like a super easy book to read. It's called The War of Art.
I would definitely check it out.
I got it pulled up
Yeah.
right here.
Yeah.
I just started reading this year, actually. I hadn't read since like high school,
Same.
but the beginning of this year I started reading, and I wanted to take it a little bit more seriously than I did. I wanted to read a lot more, but
I think we set a goal for 50 books or something.
yeah, and I probably read
In a year?
30.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot.
Right.
3 to
Gotta aim for the
3 to
moon
10
if you're
we
shooting
probably
for
got
the
done.
stars or whatever they say.
But the best thing about a book is you can get on YouTube and digest the whole book in 30 minutes from a summary.
Right.
But
Summary.
you don't get the meat from
Right.
it, but you can still get the main ideas.
You can learn from it,
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly.
I listen to audiobooks a lot, like when I'm driving or if I'm at work or whatever.
Right.
You know, listen, like a lot of times a decent sized book will be like 8 or 10 hours worth of, and I'll just split that up into a few days at work, and then
Right.
I'll be working, but I'll be like, my head will be in like this story I'm learning about or whatever.
No, that's awesome. Because I'm the type of person to always have music playing.
Me
but
too.
that kind of takes my attention. I feel like I would be better at working if I was listening to a book other than jamming to some music, because but I could get lost in either, so I don't know.
Yeah, I wondered if like how much music I listen to, which I've mitigated a little bit with podcasts and audiobooks in like this past year or whatever. I wonder if it's even like almost to the point where like I'll wake up in the morning and I'll literally grab my phone and my headphones. I'll play music before I even get up out of bed.
Right.
and then it's usually in my earbuds are in until I take a shower, and then I go to bed at night. It's like, I don't know, are you supposed to listen to 16 hours worth of music every day?
Right. And I will wake up, turn my speakers all the way up. I'm that type of person. I never listen medium, nothing. When I'm by myself, it's turned up all the way. I'm pacing around the room. I'm just listening to music. And like you said, I do it straight from the start of the day.
Yeah,
I walk out of that room and...
Is this good? I don't know.
Right. I don't think it is. I don't think it's good for my ears, for my mind, for anything. But I'm doing it anyways because I love it.
So that's another thing that I'm excited but also nervous about when I'm in Peru, because like, you know, I can't just like bring a guitar. I mean, I could, but it'd probably get destroyed.
Right.
So that's the longest I will be going without playing or listening to music.
Huh.
Probably,
I didn't think
probably
about
since
that
junior
part.
high or high school.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
So
Yeah, no electricity means no Wi-Fi.
what do you mean no Wi-Fi? What does that mean?
Like, you ain't gonna have Wi-Fi to get on Spotify.
What do you mean you
and
can't
go
have Wi-Fi?
I don't know. It's just,
The tribe's got towers. They got Wi-Fi towers.
Yeah. How do they live without Wi-Fi, dude?
They might not have an outlet to plug in the phone, but
They got
Wi-Fi towers.
They watch Netflix every night.
What if you
Netflix.
go there and it's just like the tribe sitting in there just clicking through?
Yeah, it's like, this is not what I
They're
was
like, have you
told
seen
at
this
all.
one? And you're like, what the fuck? Do you even need help?
Yeah, it's like, you guys got bigger TV than I do.
Right.
What is this?
What is that?
Well, no, I'm excited. I think, I mean, the only time I've really taken a break is I traveled, like, just road trip throughout the U.S. for, like, a month and a half or 2 months. But I had a guitar with me, but I didn't have any, like, amp or anything like that, so it's kind of different.
Right.
And I didn't have drums. All I had was just, like, an electric guitar. And you've played an electric guitar without an amp, it's, like,
Yeah.
Right.
kind of,
Yeah.
you can kind of hear
Can't
it.
even really hear.
And then when I got home, like, I wasn't as fast and as technical, but I feel like it did, like, help me with, like, a creative, because, like, you kind of fall into habits where you always play the same kind
yeah.
of thing. And
that
then-
clean slate
Yeah,
mentality.
clean slate, yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking. I think it's very important to grow personally for your music to grow in whatever way that means, you know.
Yeah.
And I think taking some time away from the music to focus on bettering yourself helps the music in the long run, for sure.
How do you write lyrics?
I usually freestyle. I'll like record line for line is usually what I do. So I'll just freestyle one line, think of the next, freestyle it. But sometimes
So
I'll write.
you sing it or rap it and then you write it down, or vice
I don't
versa?
write it down at all.
You don't write it down at all.
No, he'll
Okay.
just, whenever I'm with him, he'll just feed it off me, and then I'll say a word or something, and then he'll just be like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah,
It's-
like chemistry. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. No, I swear my lyrics get 10 times better just having Cam in the room. Even if it's him not saying anything and me being like, I want to impress this person in the room that I'm connected with. You
And
know what I
do
mean?
10 out of 10 times. That's the crazy part.
But I have been writing a lot more recently, and usually I'll either make the beat and put it on a loop and just write, or I'll have the beat that someone else made and do the same thing. I'll usually be like, I need to record before I get it wrote, because I don't want to lose how I'm saying it. That's why I freestyle mostly, because of how I say it when I freestyle. It's not so much of, I think it's a better way to make lyrics than writing, because I think my lyrics are better when I write, but I don't have the same, it's not the same push. It's not from the heart as much, you know.
You don't present it the same.
And
Yeah.
I don't know, like, what
Makes
your
sense.
views on, like, life and, like, your spiritual, like, do you believe that it's, like, actually you thinking of these words, or you feel like it's just, like, you're the machine, like, put, like, the pushing it out?
I give the credit to God, I really think. I think when I'm sitting there freestyling, it's not me,
Yeah,
you know.
that's what most artists would
Right.
would say.
And I've heard people like Michael Jackson say that. I think that's why I'm influenced to say the words, it's from God, you know. And I believe in a God for sure. And I believe that he speaks through the art just because I love doing it. I'm passionate about it. It feels right, you know. And it doesn't feel like, because I'll be listening to a song 2 weeks after, and I'll be like, how the fuck did I think of that?
Yeah.
Like, I love that. I don't know how I thought of it, you know?
See, I get into, like, people call it different things. I call it, like, a flow state. That's why I like to improv so much, because, like, if I'm trying to, like, play what's rehearsed, I'm thinking about what's the next note. Whereas, like, when I'm doing really well, like, I'll have my eyes closed and I don't even, like, if someone say, hey, play that again, I'd be like, I don't know what I just played.
Right.
And I even have some, like, recordings, like, with my solo stuff and the Lucky Funks, like, original funk band that I record with, and, like, listening back to it is, like, if you were to say, hey, this wasn't you, I'd have been like, oh, okay.
Right. Exactly.
Like, I don't remember playing that. Like, that was me that did that. Like,
I'll literally have people tell me, they'll send me a bar from one of my old songs, and I'll be like, what's that from? I don't even know what you're
that's a
talking
cool lyric.
Yeah,
Who wrote
I
that?
like it. Who wrote that? And they're
Yeah.
like, that was from your fucking... And I'm like, oh.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's, like, this, like, it's like a meditative state. Like, you mentioned meditating. It's like a meditative state that I think, to me, that's my goal, whether I'm live or trying to record.
Yeah.
I think it's part of the reason why I don't like recording is because I haven't done it a whole lot, but I feel like it's hard for me to get into that state where I just don't care. Like,
Right.
I'm trying to
And
lay down the best track I possibly could.
Right. And I feel like the way you talk about improvising your live performance is why I freestyle when I'm recording. That's how I feel when I'm doing it. You know, it's just coming. It's just,
Gotcha.
I think of the line and I record it right away instead of writing down line for line on my phone, you know.
I got you.
I'll record a line and then I'll literally play it from the beginning to hear what the whole thing is.
And do you go back and, like, rewrite it, or is if it's good?
Sometimes,
it's good? Or?
I'm very rarely, but if there's something, it's usually if it's something I can't pass up on putting in the song. If I'm like, I really think that would be cool to have in there, I have to put it on. But it's pretty rare that I do that.
I got you. I like to try and let like, lyrics is, like, the hardest thing for me to write. I mean, music, I can usually, you know, if I sit down and I can figure something out.
Right.
But I like to use writing as a tool. Because usually, I feel like if I can't remember it, I always tell myself, if I can't remember, then it wasn't memorable. Like, you know, if I sang a verse and I didn't remember what it was, then it probably wasn't memorable.
Right. I like that.
Which maybe that's not the best way to look at it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think it is.
I don't know.
I think it is I mean, in my opinion, you know, who knows if I'm right,
We take,
but
we
in my
take this
opinion, I
same
do.
concept into
Right.
consideration in our work.
Yeah. And then sometimes I'll sit there, like, if I have, like, a half of a song, what I like to do is I like to not do anything with it for a while. Like, I'll just jam on it and, like, open to interpretation and open to, like, grow, because I've caught myself in the past, like, taking really long on a song because almost like an ego thing, maybe, where, like, I had some lyrics and, like, that's what I sang last time, that's what I'm singing this time, I'm not going to change it. But now I've, like, to just let it grow, like, let it change over time and just, like,
Right.
let it morph into, let it manifest into something
Yeah.
better. And then if I do get stuck, then I'll write it down. Like, I need like, just something like visual, like, almost like kind of like mathing, like counting how many lines I need for the second verse.
Right.
If I get stuck, I'll write it down the way I can
Yeah.
kind of, like,
And see, my notepad is kind of logic. You know, I see it in that form. If it's not recorded, I won't remember it. You know what I mean? Instead of if it's not wrote down, I won't. It's like I see my notepad on there, you know? And it's whenever I make beats, I actually do that same process where I'll leave it sit for a few days. And then it'll usually be, I feel when I'm inspired. I'll be listening to it and I'm like, I'm digging this right now. I need to lay something down. You know?
While you're feeling good. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're talking about like inspiration coming from the spirit or gods or whatever you believe in. That's a lot of what Stephen Pressfield talks about. He believes in the muses, which is like our inspiration goddesses of Greek mythology.
Right.
And he talks a lot in this book about if you just have good intent and you put in the work, the muses will reward you with
exactly.
art. Like, you just have to put in the work. Like, even if you got nowhere, you spend 6 hours in the studio or whatever, or you spend 6 hours on painting, you just throw it away. Like,
you still got a little bit better.
You got a little bit better, and he believes like the muses will, they're gods,
reward
whatever you believe in.
Yeah.
They'll see like, okay, this guy's putting in a lot of work. I want to give him a little.
Exactly.
Here's a little piece.
And it takes a whole lot of work to get rewarded like that, is what I've come to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
Because you gotta be okay with doing it for years and not getting a reward. And you gotta just keep doing it over and over again.
There's a quote from the book. The most important thing about art is to do the work. Nothing else matters except sitting down every day and trying.
Yeah.
That is great. That's like,
it's good.
Bro, that's almost exactly what I just said.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's a really good book. I suggest reading it, getting a couple copies of it. And it's like super easy to read. It's not like it's like some pages are literally just like a paragraph.
Right.
And then you flip to the next page. And to me, it's been a book where it wasn't like, okay, I read it, put that on the shelf, it's done. It's something you just reread.
It's a tool.
Just reread.
Right.
Like how people reread the Bible, or people, like, I'm reading Tao Te Ching right now, which is the book of like the yin yang, the Taoism.
Right.
And it's kind of the same thing. It's not like a story. You just read it throughout life over and over.
Right.
And you read a passage and maybe you're like, I don't really know what they're talking about. But 6 months later, you read that same passage, you're like, oh my God, it's like, you know, you like kind of like start feeling emotional. It's like, okay, like I feel that one.
I felt emotion just from you saying that.
Right. Just
That's crazy.
Oh my God, I felt all of what you were saying from that.
It's like, okay, I understand that passage.
It's so true though. That happens in a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
We look back on a lot of stuff that we've done in the past, and we're like, holy shit, we have we've moved mountains so far.
And it's the same thing. We almost didn't understand what we were doing. We definitely didn't.
Yeah, we didn't. And I feel like we still have this. We're here, and it's just gonna one step at a time, every day.
Tiny increment.
Yep.
And now I think, actually, it was a book that inspired me to think this way. Is like different thought patterns throughout different seasons, and like, have you noticed? Would you agree that since it's gotten cold and darker, like maybe you don't feel like you're quite as productive, like that winter blues type thing?
100%.
Well, I've adapted I forget what the book is called, but they talked about it in depth that like this is the time to reflect on how far you came this past year, and that's kind of like
that shit gave me chills.
Like when
I ain't even gonna lie.
That's
like
sick.
Like when I first showed up, I didn't even know we were on air. When I first showed up, I was talking about how recently I've been reflecting on how my first loop system was literally like this one pedal, my guitar. I would make a loop on my guitar. I would unplug my guitar, plug in the keyboard, play it. It has it's like a Kai MIDI. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I know that.
It's like only has like 12 keys or whatever, and like a few little drum pads.
I think I have the same exact one.
Right?
Yeah, just a little bit of everything, and then I would make some keys in a drum pad, and I'd stick my guitar, unplug it, like, and I'd stick my guitar back in and play it. That's where it all started. Right. And then now I've got like my friend and my drummer for my band's calls it my spaceship, because like if you sit on like the drums is right here, and then this is all like my MacBook and like a whole bunch of knobs and buttons and stuff, and this is my keyboard, and I have pedals all like. I think one time I counted it, what was it, like I have like, I want to say like 22 or something buttons I press with my feet. Like
crazy. I can't even play 4 chords on repeat for fucking 30 seconds.
Like I'm just over here like just mad scientist.
Right.
But like I mean right now I control. Well, I mean I have like my kick drum, my hi-hat controller, sustain for the keyboard, and then the looper pedal itself has like I don't even know, probably 10 or 12 buttons, and then my guitar effects pedal has the same amount, 10 or 12. But I also control the fog machine with my foot.
That's more than 22, baby.
I don't.
That's already 25.
Yeah, I'll have to recount it. But I also control the fog machine, and then my light bar I control with my feet too, because I don't
That
have
is
like
insane.
I don't have a light person.
Right.
So,
And then once you get all that, once it starts, because bro, it just keeps going up. It's like I feel it's such a blessing to have Cam, because he picks up some of that part, you know,
Yeah.
just whatever, and he's done like he's been such a help, and he's picked up without me asking, you know, and you just find people like that along the way if you keep pursuing it passionately and genuinely, you know.
Yeah, something for me is I've not so much like putting in the physical work, but like I've found some really incredible, like inspiring people. Like some of my best friends they don't have anything you put any instrument from, they have no idea. But just like hanging out with them and like talking, you know, we're like-minded. Those people I found along the way, kind of through music, even though they're not musically inclined.
One
like,
way or another, though.
Personalities, like
relate through your passions and your interests, and
different perspectives take you a very long way.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Which is particularly, I mean, maybe it's everywhere, but I feel like taking like an artist route and like elevating consciousness and stuff is particularly hard when you grow up in the fucking Midwest. Like,
It's so hard.
I mean, maybe it's everywhere.
We're just like trained.
Yeah,
I'm sure it's everywhere in its own way, you know.
Yeah.
And here, bro, I hate it, to be honest. I don't.
Yeah, we ready to leave.
Yeah, I coined the term the first time I traveled, because growing up, I love to travel, but growing up we never really traveled. We went to Florida like once when I was like 8 or 10 or something. We went to like Holiday World and stuff like that.
Right.
And then when I was
typical family vacation.
Yeah, when I was 19, I was like, I know I want to travel. So I worked here in Effingham. I pretty much went to my boss. I was like, hey, I'm gonna be gone for like a month. It was supposed to be a month. I ended up being gone for like 2.5 months.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not quitting. I would like to have it. Just let me know if I have a job when I get back. Like, I'm not taking a leave, but like this is what's happening. If they're gonna hire me back. But like I just traveled. Just my only goal. I had no like route and plan. My only goal was to make it to the coast of California. So I spent like 2.5 months just like
really
traveling around.
Wow,
that's crazy.
And like that's a great goal. That's so open minded.
That's the goal, yeah. And like,
damn,
it was.
That's crazy. That's fine. That makes me want to go
just
now.
Pack your car.
We're gonna start walking now.
which I'm not bougie or anything either. Like I slept in my car, slept in a tent. I didn't pay for hotels. You know, I ate cold lunch meat sandwiches and stuff like that. Like I was out there for the adventure. Which I feel like I'm hoping this Peru thing is gonna be the same. It was a very beautiful and very enlightening experience, but also like there were some really dark times and some really difficult times, which I feel like is what this Peru
probably is what made it beautiful and why you got something out of it, because you put yourself through hell to get there.
Yeah, like it was supposed to be a month-long trip, but like time got added because I ended up like having seizures and was in the hospital in Arizona. And so that was really dark. And then I finally made it to coast, and I ended up like meeting a girl on the way back, and I like stayed with her. So that was really like awesome. Like, you know, so there's just ups and downs, like unexpected. I was down for the adventure.
That's awesome.
I'm hoping this Peru thing is gonna be I assume this Peru thing is gonna be the same thing. Very awesome and very dark.
Right.
But both very vital for growth.
Oh,
so
yeah,
like let's mention I coined a term because how much my whole life, just my whole thought patterns, everything changed that trip. I was like, I coined the term when people were talking about silly Midwestern stuff. Was like, yeah, but that's coming from people who never made it out of the cornfield.
It's true.
Like
that's like those people that say like, we making it out of the cornfield with this one. You know what I'm talking
Wait, people said that?
Well, they'll say it about other stuff, like we're making it out of the hood with this one. We're making it out of the cornfield with this one.
Yeah.
It's like you hear people have their ideas made up of the world and the country. Not to say that I'm a super well-rounded, like I've done some traveling and stuff,
right?
But like of the country, but it's like their only perspective is like a 40-mile radius,
right?
It's like
which is so limited,
so like minute, so tiny.
Like,
and honestly, the mindset around here, I think it's overall negative. I think the way a lot of people think around here is I don't know how to put it. It's almost offensive. You know, a lot of people around here are so stuck in their ignorant ways that they don't even realize they're stepping on toes of other people.
Yeah, they're completely, ignorant.
Right.
And it's like the words and actions are malicious, but are they actually malicious if they're unaware of the fact that they're being malicious, or are they just ignorant? Like,
yeah, I think it's mostly ignorance, really.
Yeah, you can't hold someone else's actions towards you for anything, really. And I've learned that from my job, because I see hundreds of people every week, and some of them are happy, some of them are sad, some of them are mad, and I have to deal with each and every one individually and just take it with a grain of salt.
Right.
I'm not going to take that out the door.
Yeah.
It's going to keep moving whether you do or not, you know?
Exactly. You have to.
Got to.
Make it out the cornfield.
Making it out of the cornfield. Hey, we making it out of the cornfield with this podcast here, I swear to God.
But, I mean, I still live in good old Illinois, so
right.
I guess
I live right downtown Effingham, Illinois, baby.
Yeah.
We gonna make it out.
And I remember the irony of it, because I had to come back. I wanted to stay traveling, but I had to come back because the next semester of college started, and I was going to Lakeland at the time, which is literally in the middle of a cornfield.
Yep, like, literally is. It really
they couldn't be more in the middle of a cornfield.
Right.
That's so accurate.
Hey, gotta start somewhere, though. This is just where we were.
Yo.
The luck of the draw, I guess. So where we were, it's where we were, where we are.
Yeah, me and Trev took speech class together at Cluthy.
True. That
How
just
was that?
sucked.
It was terrible.
I went to college for a year and a half, so I had half a year
Same.
left, and
Same,
then I
I
quit.
still-
I didn't get anything out of it. I owe Lakeland $1,800 to this day.
That's
all I got out of
we
it.
finish it before we die, though.
You think?
I bet we do.
I could give a fuck less.
It was
Me too, but
it was one of the I haven't
bet we
finished.
do.
I never finished
Okay.
either, to be honest. And it's one of those things, like, I'm the type, if I start something, I do like to finish it, and like I'm pretty disciplined in a lot of ways, and like there's part of me that wants me to go back, but I have no interest in what I was going for.
Right.
Like I was still in that like Midwest mind state, and like also
Mine was
just like
business management.
right.
yeah, I went for
Yeah.
renewable energy, and like it was just that, like, all right, you soon, like we were like pretty much groomed like in high school. Like as soon as you get out of high
All
school,
for
you
a
gotta,
piece of paper.
yeah,
For
like
the same pay.
if you want to be successful and you want to be happy, you have to go to college as soon as you get out of high school.
Right.
And that was
That's
like,
such a misconception.
yeah, like what my kind of like indoctrinated like through my family and like through school and through society and stuff.
Right.
And it's like I just took like I remember like looking at the big Lakeland book. That's literally how I decided. I was like, well, I like working with my hands. This has decent pay, good job outlook. I want to work on wind turbines for my life.
Right.
And like now that's like that sounds like a prison sentence. Like,
right, it does. And that's Lakeland probably paid so much money to advertise, because we saw Lakeland all over our high school.
Yeah,
They like you said,
They were in there
groomed
every
us.
Friday. Every
Yeah.
Friday.
Right.
Like, what classes are you taking? Or where are you going?
Right. We can sign you up with one click of the button right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fill out
And-
this paper.
Yeah.
and like
Yeah,
it was
I remember that.
and the stuff that sorry.
Nah, go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm just
just like-
reminiscing in the fact that they did groom us.
Yeah, yeah. And like the stuff that I was like actually, it's stuff that I'm really interested in now. I have like a kind of I don't want to say a grudge, but like with school in general, because like all the stuff that I'm interested in now and stuff I was interested in, I feel like was kind of like shit on by the school.
Right.
Like for one example with college, like I'm super interested in now. I was interested in then as well. It's like, what about like music? Like, oh well, you don't want to get a music degree.
Right.
You can't make music.
Yeah.
Like, what about philosophy? Like, I'm super into philosophy now. You're like, oh well, like, what are you gonna like? There's no jobs in philosophy unless you're gonna be a philosophy teacher, a professor one day.
But you
Right.
could
It's
change
like, okay.
the world with philosophy.
And just like
You really could.
you can use philosophy to have a better life, and to have philosophy can teach you that you don't need to make a bunch of money to be happy.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
Yo,
it's just like all this stuff that I actually kind of would be interested in learning is just like, you don't want to do that.
Right.
You'll just be in debt.
their conception of music was marching band.
Right.
They had
That's like
no-
the classes to offer for music is, like you said, it really doesn't teach you how to make music a job. It's, at least from what I know. I guess I never took them, but
I never took it in college because of that. It's like, I'm not going to pay for this class that was
Right.
and also
You're gonna teach me how to play some notes, I feel like is what that is, you know? And
Yeah.
it's like
Yep.
that doesn't like
and then like I really didn't like music and like throughout high school and grade school. One because it was like my own like ego and pride or whatever because it's not like rock and roll. It's not
Right.
it's not what the
Yeah.
cool kids play, you know what I mean? So I'm not like that anymore whatsoever. But also like had a bad experience in what grade is it out there like out past outside? Central.
3rd through 5th.
Yeah, I had a bad experience in like third, fourth, or fifth. I don't know if
Yeah.
you want to talk about that.
Right.
You want to talk about that?
Which one?
So in the music class, like I was already like playing guitar a little bit at the time. Like I said, like guitars were always around, but I wasn't like serious about it. I didn't
Right.
know what being serious about music was when I was
Yeah.
in 3rd grade.
Right.
But
Sorry,
I remember
funny.
like playing like AC/DC and Metallica and stuff, and I come in with like AC/DC shirts and stuff, and had the music class. I know the teacher's name. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna out her. I kind of want to, but and like I remember like, we spent the whole semester, the whole year, or whatever, just learning like Yankee Doodle, and like
Right.
we're learning like
Bullshit.
silly, just learn how to play the
Yeah.
triangle and like
For what?
and like the silly like the sheet music. I still can't read sheet music, not really.
Yeah. Right.
And like finally the very last, what do they call them, chapters or whatever, was like, do you remember in that music class she had like keyboards all on the one side. I don't know if you had the same. Assuming you
I
had.
can't remember music class from 3rd through 5th. I remember it in junior high. For some reason I just can't remember what it was like in
So
at
I went
Central.
to Altamont and we had music all through the younger grades, but it was just go in there, sit down, listen to a radio that she would play.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Nice.
Yeah, no, like she would try to teach us how to like,
Right.
like there'd be concepts
Yeah,
and
but
whatnot.
when
but,
it came down to it,
Yeah,
that's what
what
she
we
was
did.
doing.
But I love that lady to death.
Yeah.
She's a gold mine.
Yeah.
But you know, like throughout school we had like on all the computer classes we had like this great desk or whatever.
Oh yeah.
There's like 2 rows of them in the corner, like in the one sided, and like they all had like keyboards on them, like piano keyboards.
Right.
And the very last, I was always excited to play it, and she would never let me or whatever. And finally, at the last chapter, that's what we got to like learn we got to learn the notes on the ABCD whatever
Right.
on the keyboard.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "All right, class, everybody sit or whatever, and turn them on, but don't press any keys." And everybody was like, "Oh, this is stupid." I was like, "I'm excited. Like I play guitar. I love learning how to play piano." So I pressed notes. She starts yelling at me. And I wasn't allowed to play. I had to watch the class play.
No way.
And like,
Bro,
and,
your
like,
favorite instrument too. That's that's
yeah,
crazy.
I had to watch the class play piano or keyboard.
That's torture.
Yeah, it's because I was too impatient. I was excited to
Right,
play.
and that
Like-
is my grudge with school.
Yeah.
It's like you showed a genuine interest in wanting to learn this, and she said, if you don't do it my way, then you're not doing it at
Yeah.
all. Like,
Yeah.
what the?
I guarantee she said that too.
Yeah.
But I remember. I mean, I probably cried. I was in like 3rd grade. And I was like, "What the?
Yeah.
You guys sit here and learn Yankee Doodle on the triangle now." It's like-
Right. You're over there with the triangle. Everyone's having a good time. You're like,
That's
Yeah.
sad, man. That's sad. And you know that happens every day at school.
right.
Yeah.
My mom's a kindergarten teacher, and she is having a rough year. Like, there's some little shits in her class. And I can see it on her face when she comes home if she's had, like, a good day or a terrible day.
Right.
And I know that as a student, you experience that tenfold.
Right. Because you have different teachers every day,
Mhm.
and just like teachers have different students, and I'm sure it is relative,
Right.
Like, it is kind of the same. Teachers have bad kids, and kids have bad teachers.
Exactly.
And I feel like most teachers don't go to school for teaching to be bad teachers.
So, right.
They
Right.
just get jaded over time from dealing with little shits. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I'm sure that's it,
Like,
for real.
Yeah.
I doubt there's very many teachers out there. It's like,
I
you know
mean,
what? I
me
want
and
to torture
Trev
little
get-
children.
Right.
Like,
I had a bad childhood, so
Yeah.
make theirs bad
yeah,
too.
I doubt it. I'm sure
Right.
there's some. But
I'm sure it's a very few.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We get fed up with people in general,
Right.
let alone trying to teach a child something. I can
In
imagine.
a structured setting where it has to be, and that's my problem with school. I think my biggest problem is the failing. They teach you that it's so wrong to fail, and then
Yeah.
you grow up, and the only way you learn is by doing it and failing. So it makes people scared to do it in the
Yeah.
first place. And I think that's something that I actually has been on my mind that I would like to bring as I go through this as part of my message. I think the way the normal human thinks about failing, which was pounded in their brain from school, is wrong. I think failing's a great thing. I think
that's part of
right. It's part
failing.
of anything.
Yeah, I mean, the only way to really fail is to give up.
Right. And but they're like, oh, if you got a 68%, then you're not good enough. You know, it's. But I mean, I guess it's got some benefits maybe to.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like they're probably trying to teach you discipline more than anything.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
Like, it's hard to be disciplined on something you don't care about.
Exactly.
Also, like,
right.
You're trying to teach 4-year-olds discipline. Like,
right.
I don't know, dog.
Probably ain't gonna work. They're probably just gonna hate school.
Yeah, I feel like there's.
This is kind of.
I feel like there's a better way.
Yeah.
But I don't know the better way. So
right. Maybe I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
One of these days.
But like with the failing, failing is. Actually, I heard a comedian. It was like one of those shorts or whatever, like the short videos on Facebook,
right?
Talking about how he bombed a few shows, which I've never tried comedy, but it's relative to life in general. He bombed a few shows, and I forget what the comedian was. And he told there was this older guy that's been doing open mics like all of his life. He said, "Think of it this way: for you to have an awesome show, just pretend that just pick a random number, say 37. You have to bomb 37 times before you have an awesome show. So congratulations, you only have 36 left." Like,
right. That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, the same with failing.
Right,
like,
exactly.
You have to fail so many times before you succeed. So congratulations, you have one less.
Right, 100. That's what I want. That mindset. I want congratulations, you failed. Now go do it again and try to win. You know.
Yeah.
That should be how it is. Congratulations, you failed.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously, you're not doing it to fail. Nobody wants to fail
in real life.
But it's just the mind frame that they put around it is you're bad if you fail, and I don't like that part. I think everybody fails. Maybe you failed as a teacher. Maybe that's why I didn't. You know, that's why I got a 68%. So
yeah. Which I feel like. I don't know if it's just like perspective changes like, since we've grown up, or if like the world actually is changing, or maybe both. But I feel like more and more people are acceptable to the fact that you don't have to live the traditional life, go to school, go to college.
Well, I think it's both of them. I think it's changing because we're growing up, and now we are in control.
Now we're the well, not quite us, but now
right. But
we're
it's
the CEOs, we're the
yeah.
bosses, we're the managers, we're the ones hiring.
I do think even just college has changed because people are realizing like you don't have to go to college, and it's almost the way they have it set up. It almost might be more beneficial to just go fail in real life because you're gonna end up doing that after you're done with college, anyways. You know.
Yeah, failing is
you just waste less time.
Such a huge part, and I feel like all the negatives, like failing, like physical and emotional pain, heartbreaks, like all that stuff is like so important to growth, and I feel like it's another thing where the generation before us and probably before and also like the schooling system is, I think, here we go again, failed us,
right?
Well,
they should learn from it.
we weren't taught like any sort of like emotional, like how to deal with our construct, how to deal with our emotions and stuff. Like if it's bad, you need to the quickest route to get rid of it. You feel sad, choose the quickest thing you can to get rid of it.
Right.
So, there's a bar down the road. That'll help.
Not the thing that will last you a lifetime of positives. It's what can serve me right now to fix my problem.
It's like, whether you believe in God or the universe or whatever you believe in, why would they give you negative emotions to feel if they weren't beneficial?
Right. And I would even argue, going back to your trip to California, that I think the negatives of that probably made you grow more than the positives.
Absolutely.
It was almost like the positives were a reward for you going through that, because you said the positives kind of came after you went through that, and you went through that, grew as a person, and then it was the muses rewarding you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, all trips are good, even if they're good or bad while it's happening.
Right.
Yes.
No matter what state you go to.
Right. Exactly.
Like when it comes to the end of the day, sometimes the bad times makes you thankful for life, makes you realize some shit.
Oh yeah.
Like all the negative stuff. And I feel like negativity is Like just feel it. Like if you feel
negativity is the key to positivity.
Is
Yin
the
and
it's,
yang.
the, it's that
key.
yin and yang. It's
Yep.
the you can't appreciate one without the other. type of
Exactly.
thing.
Always gonna have both working with each other as we're over here trying to separate them, and you know.
But it's
but
a
the-
give and take.
the energy of the universe ain't gonna go to our standards. You know,
Yeah.
it don't give a fuck
Exactly.
about us. We need to start learning how to do better to coerce with that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Got any more questions for me?
I don't think so. I think
We're gonna have a jam or what?
I'm down.
Yeah,
I really
What we
am.
got?
there's an acoustic somewhere. There's an electric.
Yeah, it's right there actually. Yeah, I got an acoustic and an electric. You want to do it for the pod or after? Like, should we wrap up the pod and then jam? Or do you want to do it on the pod?
I mean, I don't care. You want to do it on the pod?
I'm fine with
Do you,
whatever.
do you guys,
I don't
what are
care.
you gonna play? It was just me.
It's just you. We're going to sit here and watch you.
Can you give me? You have a beat pad or something?
I feel like, well, we'll have to stop actually.
Yeah.
Because I'll have to set it up on here.
Oh,
But
okay.
I do really appreciate you
Yeah,
coming.
appreciate
I
you.
love
Yeah.
everything you brought to the
Everything
table.
was amazing.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
man.
You brought some light to us.
Figure Music, check them out at the office, December 16th, 9 p.m.
Mhm.
T-shirts, $20. It's a fundraiser for his trip to help Peru,
Yep, Peru.
the Amazon. Yes,
Yep.
sir.
Mhm.
Yep.
He's got it. Right on.
Yes, sir.
Everybody
Appreciate
give it
you.
up for Kobe Workman. This is Convo's Unplugged. We'll see you next week at 3 p.m.
I'm Chase.
And I'm Cam. Have a good night.